Привет! I'm Chuckleinik, a Ukrainian-American who was baptized with the name Yaroslav, which is also the name I use in the historical reenactment group, the Society for Creative Anachronism. For decades, I feel old now, I have been doing research on Slavic lore and mythology and Slavic history, and I've been using my persona in the society as kind of a vehicle to present this information to other members of the society. And I decided I would start using my YouTube channel to help present this information, just do it in video form. So the previous video that I did was on Ded Moroz or Ded Morozko, Grandfather Frost. And he's a figure that's similar to St. Nicholas and Father Christmas and Santa Claus, except that if you don't show him respect, he will freeze you to death, which kind of makes him a little different from good old St. Nick. And he's usually depicted as wearing a heel-length coat, fur hat, valenki or felt boots, has a long white beard, long magic stick. So Ded Moroz has been around a long time and has appeared in folklore for a lot of centuries. He has a companion. In East Slavic cultures, Ded Moroz is accompanied by Snegurochka, the Snow Maiden, his granddaughter and helper, and she wears a long silver blue robe and a furry cap, or she might even have a snowflake-like crown. Now, she's really unique as far as being, connected with Ded Moroz because they're similar characters in other cultures. They don't have a female counterpart. Well, she doesn't really fit into the time period of the society. Snegurochka, oh, by the way, that's the diminutive. Snegurochka would be, I guess, the more proper name. The Snow Maiden. She's a character that doesn't show up until like the 19th century. And she makes her first appearance in Russian folklore, Slavic folklore about then. And she was even, she was depicted as the granddaughter of Ded Moroz and the helper for New Year's parties during the Soviet period, actually in like 1935, when at first the Soviets banned anything to do with Christmas. That's bad stuff, that's religion. And then 1935, they decided to allow New Year's celebrations, and so Snegurochka shows up. And there's a lot of different versions of the fairy tales that she's in. One of the oldest stories of her is there's childless Russian peasants, Ivan and Maria, who make a snow doll, which comes to life. A later version has Snegurochka growing up quickly, playing with other girls on Ivan Kupalo Day as they take turns leaping over a fire, but only gets halfway before she's evaporating into a small cloud. Well, there's a Russian ending. In another story, she's the daughter of Vesna, Spring, the beauty, and Ded Moroz, and yearns for the companionship of mortal humans. She grows to like a shepherd named Lel, but her heart is unable to know love. And in typical Slavic fashion, Mom gives her the ability to love. Snegurochka's heart melts because it warms up. She's gone. Who will speak of the things of old, and of the things that have been? Who will speak of Snegurochka, the Snow Maiden? Once there was a woodcutter named Ivan and his old wife, Maria. They were poor. They had no children. The old man cut logs in the forest and carried them into town. In this way, he made a bare living. As they grew older, they became sadder and sadder because they were childless. "We're growing so old. Who will take care of us?" Maria, the wife, would ask from time to time. "Do not worry, old woman. God will not abandon us. He will come to our aid," answered Ivan, the old man. One day, in the dead of winter, he went into the forest to chop wood, and his wife came along to help him. The cold was intense. They were nearly frozen. "We have no child," said the woodcutter to his wife. "Shall we make a little snow girl to amuse us?" They began to roll snowballs together, and in a short while they had made a Snegurochka, a Snow Maiden, so beautiful that no pen could describe her. The old man and the old woman gazed at her and grew even sadder. "If only the good Lord had sent us a little girl to share our old age," said Maria, the old woman. They looked at the Snow Maiden and were amazed at what they saw. The eyes of the Snow Maiden twinkled. A diadem of precious stones sparkled like fire on her head. A cape of brocade covered her shoulders. Embroidered boots appeared upon her feet. The old couple looked at her and did not believe their eyes. Then the mist of breath parted the red lips of Snegurochka. She trembled, looked around, and took a step forward. The old couple stood there stupefied. They thought they were dreaming. Snegurochka came toward them and said, "Good day, kind folk. Do not be frightened. I will be a good daughter to you, the joy of your old age. I will honor you as father and mother." And the couple rejoiced. And Ivan, the old woodcutter, said, "It will be so." And they left the forest together, the three of them, and returned to their izba. The old couple brought Snegurochka home to their hut, their izba, and she began her life with them, helping them to do the chores. She was always most respectful. She never contradicted them, and they could not praise her enough. Neither her strength nor could they tire of gazing upon her. She was so kind and so beautiful. Snegurochka nevertheless worried her adopted parents. She was not at all talkative, and her little face was always pale, so pale. She did not seem to have a drop of blood, yet her eyes shined like little stars, and her smile, when she smiled, she lighted up the izba like a gift of golden zlatniki. They lived together thus for a month, 2 months, time passed. The old couple could not rejoice enough in their little daughter, gift of God. One day, Snegurochka's mother spoke to her darling daughter. "My daughter, why are you so shy? You see no friends. You always stay here with us, old people. That must be tiresome for you. Why do you not go out and play with your friends? Show yourself, see people. You should not spend all your time with us aged folk." "I have no wish to go out, dear mother," answered Snegurochka. "I'm happy here." Carnival time arrived. The streets were alive with strollers, with singing from early morning until late at night. Snegurochka watched the merrymaking through the little frozen window panes. She watched, and finally she could resist no longer. She gave in to her mother, put on a cloak, and went into the street to join the throng. And in that same village there lived a maiden named Kupavia. And Kupavia was a true beauty, with hair as black as a raven's wing, a river at midnight, skin like blood and milk, arching eyebrows. One day a rich merchant came through town. His name was Mizgir, and he was young and tall. He saw Kupavia, and she pleased him. Kupavia was not at all shy. She was saucy and never turned down an invitation to stroll. Mizgir stopped in the village, called to all the young girls, gave them nuts and spiced bread, and danced with Kupavia. From that moment he never left town, and it must be said, he soon became Kupavia's lover. There was Kupavia, the belle of the town, parading around in velvets and silks, serving sweet wines to the youths and the maidens, and living the joyful life. The day Snegurochka first strolled in the street, she met Kupavia, who introduced all her friends. From then on, Snegurochka came out more often and looked upon the youths. A young boy, a shepherd, pleased her. His name was Lel. Snegurochka pleased him too, and they became inseparable. Whenever the young girls came out to stroll and to sing, Lel would run to Snegurochka's izba, tap on the window, and say, "Snegurochka, dearest, come out and join the dancing." Once she appeared, he never left her side. One day Mizgir came to the village as the maidens were dancing in the street. He joined in with Kupavia and made them all laugh. Then he noticed Snegurochka, and she pleased him. She was so pale and pretty. From then on, Kupavia seemed too dark and too heavy, and soon he found her unpleasant. Quarrels and scenes broke out between them, and Mizgir stopped seeing her. Kupavia was desolate, but what could she do? One cannot please by force nor revive the past. Then she noticed Mizgir often returned to the village and went to the house of Snegurochka's parents. The rumor flew that Mizgir had asked for Snegurochka's hand in marriage. Kupavia learned of this. Her heart trembled. She ran to Snegurochka's hut, reproached her, insulted her, called her a viper, a traitor, made such a scene that they had to force her to leave. "I will not stand for this," she cried. "I will go to the Tsar himself. I will not suffer this dishonor. There is no law that allows a man to compromise a maiden and then throw her aside like a useless rag." Snegurochka was brought before the Tsar, and of course she was a frightened little girl at this point, and her parents were frightened as well. And the Tsar asked Snegurochka, "Did you commit the sin of separating two lovers after stealing the heart of Kupavia's beloved? Did you flirt with him? Do you intend to marry him? Make sure you tell me the truth." Snegurochka knelt before the Tsar and spoke the truth, that she was not at fault, neither in body nor in soul, that the merchant Mizgir had asked for her hand in marriage, but that he did not please her, and she refused his hand. The Tsar looked into the Snow Maiden's eyes and saw there was no lie there, and bid her go home in peace and do not be upset. Kupavia learned of this and learned of the Tsar's decision. She went wild with grief. She tore her pearl necklace from her white neck, ran from her izba, and threw herself into a well. From then on, Snegurochka refused to leave her parents' izba. She stayed home, consumed with grief. Meanwhile, spring had returned. The glorious sun rose higher and higher. The snow melted. The tender grass sprouted. The bushes turned green. The birds sang and made their nests. But the more the sun shined, the paler and sadder Snegurochka grew. One beautiful spring morn, Lel came to Snegurochka's little window and pleaded with her to come out with him just once, for just a moment. For a long while, Snegurochka refused to listen, but finally Her heart could no longer resist Lel's pleas, and she went with her beloved to the edge of the village. Lel, oh Lel, play your flute for me alone, she asked. She stood before Lel, barely alive, her feet tingling, not a drop of blood in her face. Lel took out his flute and began to play Snegurochka's favorite air. She listened to the song. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Then her feet melted beneath her. She fell onto the damp earth and suddenly vanished. Lel saw nothing but a light mist rising from where she had fallen. The vapor rose and disappeared slowly into the blue sky. It was at the feast I heard this tale. There it was, I drank mead ale. Though it flowed down my beard, my mouth stayed dry, for never a drop passed my lips, swear I.